I'll be honest, I am not a big fan of Chris Rock. I find Chris Rock to be extremely corny and not as talented as some of the other comedians that I like. For example, Bernie Mac or D.L. Hughley, Eddie Murphy, Richard Pryor. But that doesn't take away that Chris Rock has an enormous audience and he's liked by non-blacks. I prefer more African-American style comedy than what Chris Rock provides. But I have noticed something. Chris Rock, outside of complaining about Will Smith, he takes little certain digs at the black community that he doesn't take at the white community. But let me not really deal with that for right now. We all know that Chris Rock had the infamous slap situation last April with Will Smith, and Chris Rock had been making jokes about Jada Pinkett for a while, and Will Smith finally slapped him. Now, Chris Rock, being the businessman, did not go at Will Smith until the Netflix special, and it was smart because that's how he made his money. Obviously, he's not going to go ahead and blow a multi-million-dollar deal talking trash about Will Smith for a year when he can wait and make that money on a Netflix comedy special. Now, obviously, he was, going on tour and things like that, and I get it. But here's something that I'd like to discuss and I'd like to talk about. Chris Rock, for years, has been taking specific jabs at Michael Jackson. And this is what happened during the Selective Outrage show. Now, I can't play it because I don't want to get copyright stricken here on YouTube. But what, Chris Rock did was, my honest opinion, was tasteless, you know what I'm saying? And it was low class. But I want to give a shout out to the brother Forgotten King's YouTube channel because he actually sums it up pretty nicely in this clip.
I had the opportunity to attend one of these shows, so I actually heard some of the jokes before you heard them on the Netflix special. And I will say immediately when Chris Rock made the joke about Michael Jackson fans, still listening to his music but refusing to not listen to R. Kelly, which he deemed as selective outrage, I was definitely upset at that joke. Why? Because we already know for years Michael Jackson has been hit with a lot of accusations, but he's been proven innocent, all right? Never found guilty. And if anything, he has exposed a lot of the extortionists, right? All of the people who have their angles trying to set up Michael Jackson. I mean, at this point, you can do your own research and see some of the accusers were proven to be liars, right? So why would Chris Rock choose that moment to take a jab at Michael Jackson? That's the thing. A lot of people within the culture are upset with Chris Rock because he has a tendency to want to go hard on his own people within the culture. But when it comes to Harvey Weinstein, right? Silence. When it's his own peers dropping the N-bomb, right? White dudes on stage saying the N-word, he's not checking them. So, certain people feel like Chris Rock is corny.
So let me just say this. If you're going to compare R. Kelly to Michael Jackson, and shout out to the brother Forgotten Kings, you need to equate them with the same charges. And the reality is that R. Kelly is a convicted, whatever you want to call him. We don't want to say it here on YouTube, but you understand what it is, right? R. Kelly's probably never getting out of jail. He's still getting convicted for things he's done in the past. And to be fair, those allegations about R. Kelly were out in the 90s when I was in high school. I'm 41. But at the time, those were allegations. It is now a fact that R. Kelly has been convicted of those things. But when it comes to Michael Jackson, now, is Michael Jackson weird? Or was he weird? Or was he unorthodox? Absolutely. But nobody wants to talk about the challenges that Michael Jackson had to go through. Nobody wants to talk about how he grew up or how he was robbed of his childhood. And even though he never really, became the kind of adult that maybe you wanted him to become, it doesn't make him equivalent to R. Kelly because he's not R. Kelly. And a lot of those things against Michael Jackson just wasn't true. Now, Taj Jackson has this to say yesterday about Chris Rock. Sad music! Chris Rock has used my family as punching bags for his entire career. Yet I am supposed to feel bad for him getting slapped and humiliated on the Oscars. After seeing a new clip of attacking my dead uncle in the first minutes of his retaliation, I'm still relevant special. I have 3 things to say to that. What did my family ever do to you to warrant these decades of harassment and your constant bullying disguised as jokes? 2, just because you're bullied early on in your life doesn't give you the excuse to bully others now. 3, thank you, Will Smith. So let me just say this. Here's the question I want to ask to Chris Rock. Well, what does Michael Jackson have to do with what happened with you and Will Smith? Nothing, to be honest, okay? At all. Why do you constantly try to put something on a person that there's not any evidence to prove what you're talking about? Especially being in the entertainment industry and people leveraging false charges against entertainers all the time. Now, another thing is this. Again, Chris Rock wants people to feel sorry for him about getting slapped. You know how Will Smith took it out on you. But now, what about Michael Jackson's family? Don't they matter? Isn't it important that they heal? Because Michael Jackson was ruined. It's not like Michael Jackson's even Bill Cosby. It'd be different if he said Bill Cosby. Because Bill Cosby, there is some evidence there of what he did, according to the court records. But now, we're not dealing with that. You're pretty much taking out your frustration on somebody that's innocent, somebody that was extorted. But Harvey Weinstein is in prison. There are many people in the European community, might I add, or the untouchable community, might I add, that have experienced those things. But the question that I have to you, why doesn't Chris Rock make those jokes about Harvey Weinstein? We know why, because Harvey Weinstein is still a part of the untouchable community. And those are the people that sign the checks for Chris Rock. And I see that with a lot of black entertainers. A lot of black entertainers, I've even seen it with Drake. Drake will make fun of people on this black side of his family, but he'll never make fun of people on the untouchable community side of the family. And that just proves to show that mentality is why black people have not ever progressed. You see, entertainers will do anything for personal wealth and for money, but we got to understand something. If you don't own these companies, if you don't sign the checks, if you don't have ownership, if you don't have black ownership, Chris Rock's getting rich or entertainers getting rich. It doesn't do anything for black people because the ones who are writing the checks are non-black and they dictate who you can talk about. And the ones who get talked about is other blacks. But that's because we don't have a lot of black ownership. You see, once we start getting more black ownership around the world, we'll be able to combat that. We'll be able to say, no, you won't be talking about our brother. We'll be able to defend that in the same way that, I believe it was the Kappas defended Kevin Samuels from Jamal Harrison Bryant when he passed away. But that's what happens when you don't have black ownership. People around the country, these comedians, will continue to attack other blacks, innocent blacks. It'd be different if it wasn't somebody that wasn't guilty of it, that was guilty. He's not guilty. This is the innocent African-American, the greatest entertainer, one of them of all time that you're attacking. But Harvey Weinstein, you don't have any smoke for, bro. And we all know why you don't have any smoke for him. But guys, what do you think? It's your boy, O'Shea Duke Jackson, back at it again with another episode of The Celebrity Junk. I appreciate you for all that you do. Subscribe, hit the bell. We're out.